Yes, that is right. That is the year that starts every Champagne Rugby podcast, which means that this is underway live from the Export Beer Garden studio where we're talking all things Super Rugby thanks to Dulux. And what a weekend it was, Sam Smith.
I really enjoyed the fact that you just achieved puberty at the start of that year.
It's called expression, Sam. It's being expressive. Have you ever listened to AC/DC? Have you ever listened to Guns N' Roses?
Never heard of it.
Whoa, ha, 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 see it. No one's like, oh, go through puberty, you nerd.
I think everyone was like that. Everyone in the crowd. And that's what they're shouting. But you're a child. That's what they're saying. That's what all the screams are. That's what I reckon's happening. Sorry, I've had too much champagne before the Champagne Rugby podcast. My head's off the wazoo.
His head's off the wazoo. Of course, that notorious saying that has been used before. My head is off the wazoo. We're going to have a look back at the weekend of rugby for Toporo and what a weekend.
It was a fantastic weekend.
I commentated about 1,000 games here at the ACC over the weekend and lost my mind. It was a big one. I'll have to say this. This Friday night, it was during the Comedy Festival, which is over, so I can stop plugging that. But the Comedy Festival was on. It's doing an hour show every night on Friday night.
Wait a second. You just said you weren't going to plug it. Then you just plugged it straight away.
I was talking about it. Talking about it and plugging it is something different. I haven't told anyone to go get tickets. There's no tickets to buy. It doesn't even matter.
You just said to go get tickets. You're plugging it again.
It's not what I'm doing. What I'm trying to say here is
how many people came to your comedy show?
What do you mean?
Did people come to your comedy show?
Yeah.
Oh, nice, man. I'm really proud of you.
Thanks, man.
Did it go well?
Yeah, it was great.
Nice.
It was a good time.
Okay, cool.
But it's not what I'm trying to say.
Shut up, Tony. Let's talk about rugby.
Well, it's kind of what I'm trying to do here, to be honest. The first game...
Sorry, I didn't come to your comedy show, by the way. I just figure I know you in real life, so you'd probably just told me the jokes anyway.
It would be kind of weird to stand up and do stand-up to someone
to pay money to just come and say, I get pretty good access to you all the time whenever I want.
It's true.
It would be weird, but I'm glad the show went well.
It went well. All right, should we do the thing now? Is there anything more you want to interject with?
How have you been?
I've been all right.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Please, let's talk about the fact that your Highlanders had a wonderful win at the weekend.
They did, and it was just before I came in here, did this game, the Highlanders versus the Reds, and then immediately left to the comedy show. And then on the Saturday, did a afternoon comedy show that went for 3 hours. It was crazy.
What are you talking about? Why would you do a 3-hour comedy show? That's too long.
It was glorious. It was a rip-off of Survivor. Reese Matthewson hosted it. We did 3 hours on stage, and there was all sorts of activities. There was challenges, there was voting people off, there was extinguishing torches. Then I came here, did 2 back-to-back games, and then went and did my comedy show. I absolutely carked it after that.
How'd you go in Subliblo or whatever it's called?
I got voted off 6th.
Wow.
It was too much of a 3.
And how many people were in it?
10.
10? 6? That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's all right.
Did you have to eat any dog dicks or anything?
Nah, that was
Boo! You need to eat more dog dicks on Survivor. That's why Survivor's not as popular. And that's why you should see Taskmaster, which is season 4, which we're filming right now, which I might have been a writer for.
So what's the plug there? You go and
please watch Taskmaster when it's on TV.
When it's on TV?
Yeah, I don't know when that is.
Okay, great plug.
Yeah.
What a plug. Watch it when it's on. I don't know when that is. All right, let's talk about the thing you actually couldn't watch.
You just plugged your show that was in the past.
I didn't. I'm talking about something that's different than plugging it. We don't have time. We're going to run out of time here to talk about the actual stuff, which is the Islanders. They won, baby, and God, it was a thing of beauty.
This game was a full, proper, passing of the torch game. Aaron Smith passing on to Falau Fakatava at the end.
Sorry to interrupt you, Sam Smith. We've just had a huge celebrity walk in to join the podcast.
The man, the legend.
Welcome to the Export Beer Garden studio. It is James McOnie.
Hey, yeah. Give it up for Naughty by Nature.
What was that? Was that a didgeridoo? What were you doing there?
I was just doing. Actually, you know what is that thing that people do in the crowd where it looks like a bit of a double BJ thing?
Yeah, yep. That's it. They're doing a double BJ.
Right, they're doing a double BJ.
It actually reminded me of
it's a handy BJ, isn't it? It's a handy BJ.
It reminded me of the conch they blow at the start of Survivor. Ironically, that we've heard it as the ooh hey yo yeah. Two Survivor mentions already at the top of the show. That has to be a record. We actually only just got into the Highlanders because I'll tell you what, we dilly-dallied around at the start of that podcast. Could be some of the, I'd say the most dilly-dallying we've ever done. But we've just got into
Tony
the
Lyall
Landers.
wouldn't shut up about his bloody comedy show.
I haven't brought
it's
up-
in the past.
Oh, right. And you know, I did want to make it, but I was busy on Saturday night and I was thinking, I need to go see Tony Lyall. Did you hit it out of the park?
It was a real treat. It was a real treat. But it wasn't as much of a treat as the Highlanders winning on Friday night.
Yes.
Honestly, it was just the greatest.
Segway.
As a long-suffering Highlanders fan, it was just good to have one of those games that comes down to the wire where we didn't lose. And I know that we won the week previous by a last-minute penalty, but so often in this last year, probably since 2015, we've lost those games, and it's made me really sad. So, God, it was just good to win.
Man, it has given me good hopes for you guys against the Blues this weekend.
Yeah, I know that would be
We'll
nice.
probably get onto that a bit later, I reckon.
Old Aaron from Distribution, his last game down in Dunedin, and they really poured it on. They let him run out with his kids at the start of the game for sort of like 5 metres, and then he had to turn around and bring them back and be like, I can't play holding these guys.
I've never seen a game so much where they just go back and see what Aaron Smith's doing all the time. Once he went off the field, like every second shot was of him in the crowd just chatting with people, then chilling out.
Relaxing.
And then just being proud of his son, Falau Fakatava. It was lovely.
There was a great moment when it cut back to him on the field and he was sort of watching, but there was a hurt guy behind him who was in agonising pain, and he was obviously not the focus of the shot. They were trying to get Aaron Smith and some feel-good vibes, but you really were distracted by a man in literal agony behind him being like, please, take the camera off me. My whole knee is broken.
Where was this? Where was the guy with the knee? Was he off as well?
Yeah, he was just sitting directly behind him. I can't remember who it was, but yeah, he was real hurt, and he was just sitting behind him grimacing like no one's business, and Aaron sort of smiling warmly, watching the game.
Yeah.
And that was the shot they wanted, but they just couldn't crop out the hurt guy.
Yeah.
There are so many different fortunes out there in a rugby game. You know, it's always the person who gets hurt in the first 5 minutes that feels guilty for getting hurt. They almost go past the bench and go, don't look at me.
Yeah.
Like Christina Aguilera at the start of Beautiful.
Well, in that Hurricanes game on Saturday night, I think Julian Savia was hurt. He caught a pass and his tit popped off straight away, and it was maybe 3 minutes 30, and he was on the sidelines.
Did you say his tit popped off?
He was holding his tit. I think it popped off.
Okay,
I'm not a doctor. I've never, what is it called when you tell someone what's wrong with them, Sam?
Diagnosed?
I've never diagnosed anyone before, and I mean, I think you can tell because I don't know what the word is. But I saw it happen. I was like, "Oh, that's his tits popped off."
Oh my God, his tit popped right
I've
off.
seen it once. I've seen it 1,000 times. His tits popped off.
Yeah, well, that can happen. There's been a lot of pec tit injuries in Super Rugby, and quite often, if it's a tit injury, you know they're gone for a while.
Yeah.
The thing that I noticed the most about it was the benefits of playing towards the zoo. Because at the other end, there's just a couple of volunteer firefighters. There's someone in high vis, maybe a red badge guy doesn't really fancy tackling anyone tonight.
6 cherry pickers. There's always 6 cherry pickers.
Yeah, there's cherry pickers.
A lot of cherries down there.
Someone's getting ready for Ed Sheeran, you know what I mean? There might be someone sizing something, the tape measure. And down the other end, there's all these freaking drunk students, and they're just going off. And Jackson Garden Bishop scored a try from 0.8 yards, and he's up going, yeah, come on! He's loving it. What would you be doing at the other end?
It could have been...
Come on, cherry pickers!
It could have been the ugliest try maybe to have ever been scored in the history of Super Rugby. Sort of squirted out the back of a ruck. Yeah. He almost knocked it on. He picked it up and plopped it down. And he went up as if he'd scored a 100-metre absolute screamer. And the crowd went up as well. God, how good is the zoo?
So I think they need second half zoo. Second half zoo is what you need. So they need to play towards the cherry pickers in the first half and try and guarantee and rig the coin toss. Because you're playing towards I know most of those kids or students aren't actually from Otago.
No.
They get brainwashed and then, space.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Like a certain person who we do a podcast with, Tony Lyall.
Yeah, that's right.
Tony
Not just,
Lyall. Exactly like Tony.
Some of us stayed true to our roots when we were in Otago.
Absolutely.
So some of us are able to form our own opinions once we sort of get old enough to realise that everything we've been indoctrinated into as children shouldn't actually just be believed on face value because our parents told us to do it. We sort of have opinions of our own and are able to go, hey, you know what? Oh, I can think feelings that haven't been poured into my own brain by my dad. I love you, Dad. No, I can form my own shit. I can turn my back on my family and still hold them in high opinion. So what I'm trying to say...
You've had to defend this accusation before.
Yeah,
That's a beautiful speech.
Normally from me as well. That's the 9th time I've heard that.
I'll tell you what, it felt good coming out. What I think, I agree with you, second half zoo is a great idea, but what about if we had a zoo which was able to transition? So let's say we have two stands, and at half time, we literally funnel everyone out, put them up the other end, have two zoos, and so both halves the Highlanders are playing towards the zoo.
I think that's the issue, is they need some kind of like bleachers down that end, because it doesn't have to be massive. It could be a mini zoo. It can just be a petting zoo.
Petting zoo.
A little goat, sort of like, what else do you have? There's always a sheep, isn't there?
There's always like a hurt otter.
Sometimes there's like a calf, like a young cow. Not a big one because they'll get trampled. But you just get a lovely wee cow there to pet.
A tractor ride, and then when you go up to the tractor ride, they're like, oh, it's actually $2. You're like, oh, I paid to get in. But they're like, yeah, this is sort of on top of the entrance fee. It's an optional thing. You don't have to do it. And you're well, the kids don't know
We've got to pay for the diesel we need to burn through.
Yeah.
To get this tractor going.
I think I'm speaking about a very specific farm out west, if anyone's been out there.
Right
now, Kiwi Valley Farm. Yeah, it's I resented having to pay for the tractor ride.
Is that by Crystal Mountain?
Yeah, it's by Crystal Mountain.
Crystal Mountain? That sounds amazing.
Yeah, well, is that the one where they take your kidney out, or is that, I'm thinking of a viral video of like, we're after Candy Mountain.
Charlie the unicorn.
But I don't know, they probably would remove your kidney if you asked nicely at Crystal Mountain.
They would. I'm certain they would.
Polite people.
Yeah.
One of the highlights of the Super Rugby season happened in this game as well. It was a beautiful moment. We were here commentating, playing some assistant coach bingo, and Kane Hames, assistant coach for the Reds, ex-All Black, ex-Highlander, ex-commentator as well.
Yes.
He's now dipped his toe into the coach. Brad Thorne's called him in, and he's hit us with an absolute bell ringer, and he's left the interview like this.
Set piece line out worked well. Couple of scrum penalties though. What are you seeing there?
Well, Highlanders are very good at
what's
like
going
a
on?
small hit and chase.
Alex,
if we can fix that up, almost win that back, it should be okay.
All the best for the second half.
Just walking out of an interview going, is the funniest thing, because it's finally going, I can't be bothered with the second half. I think he during the interview he'd said that all his forwards were injured. They had no substitutions to make, and he was just not keen for it. And instead of just going, yeah, thanks, he's just shown us what he's actually thinking and given a good old-fashioned...
I seriously think there have been way more injuries this season than there have been in other seasons. It's like every team is plagued by it.
Yes. I was just going to give some backstory to that interview,
I'd
which
love
might
to
help.
hear it.
So Kane Hames was working as a commentator, sideline person, and appeared on the breakdown quite a few times, so I'd see him in at Sky, and I was always amazed for a tight head prop. He's a wee man.
Yeah.
You know, he's not that big, but
He's shrunk as well, kind of like lost the big buff.
So he was a technician, you know, so he was just the practitioner, the guy. He just knew all the angles and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, he'd been at Sky, and so would Ricky Swinell, the interviewer there. Mm-hmm. So they know each other, and they would call games together. So it's kind of like mate to mate saying, bloody hell.
Yeah.
So it's not... it's a perfect reaction just because of the relationship those two have got.
Yeah.
You know, like
nice,
he's going,
nice.
in the same way that if you two, if you said, why the hell are you a sort of bandwagon Highlanders guy, and then you launch into a, do I have to...
Here we go.
Do I have to do my thesis for the 15th time this
Also,
week?
just quietly, bandwagon implies that they are doing well. And
That's true.
I have been through thick and thin with this team.
Yeah,
it's
you're
true.
very
Sorry.
loyal.
I supported
to
them for like 8 years before they won the championship, and they weren't a good 8 years. It wasn't great stuff. I don't
Hasn't
know if you
been
remember
great since
2013.
either.
Okay, I feel you.
You two, you do it. There we go.
I actually watched some other footage of his interviews just to get an idea of this is the first time, and we sort of realised that is actually his sort of like standard response. You know, some guys will be like or like he often he'll start an interview. People will be like, "How you going out there, Kane?" And he'll be like, well, you know, and like it's just the sort of a noise he makes while he's thinking, which is amazing stuff.
We need to get them to see an ENT. Look at this.
Yeah.
He tilted his head back as he walked off. That was very cartoon, very sort of Charlie Brown or whatever. You know, like I approved of everything that happened in that, and the perfect reaction as well. Sometimes because we play, was it assistant coach bingo with all the cliches and are they going to say pressure mounting? Are they going to say exit plays? What are they, shoulders on? And then with him, you're going to have to add massive sigh.
Yeah.
It's going to be, oh shit, it's Kane Hames.
Yeah.
Do we actually include the sigh? Because that's the thing. Are we going to play assistant coach bingo where you try and get some sort of different reaction apart from the cliche where you go, wait a second, I think this guy is going to struggle for whatever the next word is, or they're going to have some sort of, exclamation point, or maybe they start shouting or singing. We're going to have to, we're moving the posts for assistant coach bingo.
Yeah, I think we need to get in with the team so they can give us a heads up early as to who's going to be the nominated assistant coach for that day's interview, because that's the really hard thing is you don't know who you're getting. You might get Kate Haynes, you might get Paul Tito, great guys, good for a yarn. Then you might get some of the other people who have given some of the probably least interesting speeches I've ever heard. Like, ever. Yeah. Not even in a rugby context.
True, yeah.
Where sometimes you're like, how are you stringing these words together? This is insane.
I just want to jump back to that, McOnie. Singing?
Well,
man, if I see that, they'll be the greatest.
There must be a couple of assistant coaches who are thinking, this is my chance. Yeah. But also people who speak in song lyrics,
Yeah. Love it.
They can feel themselves saying it, it's, we've got many rivers to cross. And then he goes, but it's still, and then they start to go and maybe not singing it, but I think that following that lyrical pattern, they could do it.
I love it very much.
Yeah. Also, this game was notable. We've mentioned it slightly. Aaron Smith, his last game in the steamer lunchbox down there, and what a way to go out. Getting subbed sort of with 20 to go, Flau Fakatava, the motherfucker coming on and stealing the win in the dying seconds. And geez, he was jazzed up on the sideline.
That was an amazing, sneaky little try, getting off to the blindside and smashing it out in the corner.
And also notable because it's not a try that Aaron Smith would have scored.
That's
Aaron would have distributed it out. He would have made sure someone else dotted down. So it was a real sort of passing of the guard in terms of style and player. And it was just great to see how supportive Aaron was on the bench. Like, obviously, jumping up Fizz to win, of course he would be. Yeah. But Fizz for the guy who's taking over and has since re-signed with NZR as well and the Highlanders for another couple of years, only into 2025, which is a bit annoying. Yeah. But nonetheless, another All Black down there staying in Highlanders country and winning the game for them. Oh, yeah.
Can I maybe offer this theory? I love that moment too. And seeing how much Aaron Smith enjoyed it just shows that you don't have to be on the field to get the excitement as a player, It's not like, I wish I was doing that. Cool. Yeah. He was into it, but I think it's because their season's alive, and it's not just my last game at home. It's nice to celebrate. Their season's alive, and I think they're the Banana Skin team. They should change their name now to the Banana Skins.
I agree.
For the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And they've got Jonah Nadeki back. They found a place for Sammy Gilbert closer to the ball, which I like. And then you've got all the sort of key components, I think, the forwards are fit, all that sort of stuff. It's working. Shannon Frizzell filling in at lock, all that stuff has worked for them. So I reckon they can stay in the battle against any team in the comp.
Yeah, I agree. And love to see John O'Pryor out there.
Scored a try.
Mate, what a guy. What a absolute sicko, just putting his body on the line week after for the whole season. I feel like Hugh Renton has played every game. Maybe the All Blacks we're going to rest. He's like, I'll play 80 every game and smash my body to pieces. Freddie Burns playing at 10. I feel like he's starting to guide the team around. With still a place for Mitch Hunt at 15 to show that razzle-dazzle he does. And you also mentioned him, Jonah Nadeki, was just outrageous. At the end of the game, it was a just give it to Jonah sort of vibe and he'll do something. And he did it every single time.
Yeah.
It was
he's a proper strike winger.
Incredible.
You got to have your strike winger out there somewhere. The balance is good. Where's was Thomas Umaga Jensen?
I think he was a late withdrawal.
Right.
We had Matt Funler out there. He was chucked in the team last minute, and he was not in the 23 that we had here. Again, the ACC admin team shat the bed and gave us some real out of date team lists.
Isn't it crazy when someone comes in from the blue and is in the starting team? You'd think they'd shuffle them into the thing, but then of course that's where strategy comes in.
Yeah, well, they've got a plan. They've got a plan for the midfielders to come on and play. The amount of Scott Gregory was coming on, I think, to cover that spot. So maybe they only wanted.
Imagine Highlanders take that 8th spot, end up playing the Chiefs in the quarters, and man, banana skin time. The Chiefs are out of there.
Are you allowed? Just to your point, Sam, are you allowed to, as a Super Rugby team, someone goes down in the warm up, which has happened before, and then you go, "We've got a plan. We don't want to mess with the bench," and then you look into the crowd and you go, "Is that Rico Gear?" Or, someone from back in the day.
Yeah.
I hear he's still playing club footy.
We might get on.
Should we just ask him?
I feel like a similar thing happened in the Crusaders game this
That brings
week.
us quickly to the next game. We can probably park the Highlanders bus there and move on. We'll skip briefly.
Go the Highlanders, keep up the great
Rebels
work.
and the Force also played on the Friday. The Rebels pumped them. An incredible game on Saturday. The first game, which we will briefly talk about before we get to that Crusaders game, which was the Battle of the Pacific Islands in Fiji.
It was incredible.
Christian Leali'ifano really skirting one. And I've got a theory. This isn't my theory. I saw this theory written down, was that he missed that kick on purpose. Was that if they had won that game, the Ndrua would have been out of the hunt for the playoffs.
And they wanted to keep Ndrua.
There was no chance of Moana Pacifica progressing through. They had a kick to win it. Christian Leali'ifano, who'd been kicking well all day and all his entire life.
Yeah.
And then he misses one from pretty much in front to win the game in the final minute. I reckon he did his Pacific Island brothers a favour and missed that on purpose so they didn't make the 8.
I think that's very kind of him, but I also reckon any professional football player are the most competitive bastards in the world, and absolutely not, and he'll be gutted that he missed that kick.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but I don't know. I reckon that he could do it.
You see, I once met Wendell Saylor. He was on Family Feud when I worked at it.
Oh, nice.
And I know he won a big arm wrestling competition against someone where he actually snapped some guy's arm.
Yeah, it was live on the footy show. It was truly horrific.
And I was like, hey, can we do like a pretend arm wrestle? You let me win so I can just tell my mates, hey, I bet Wendell Saylor in an arm wrestling match. And he said, I've never lost an arm wrestling match and I will not lose one to you. And I was the warm-up guy at Family Feud. And
I'm glad he drew the line. It's like, no, not to you, Sam.
Not to you, no one. And so, good on him. Good on him.
You know, of any people to take that kick in Super Rugby, Christian Leali'ifano is definitely in the top 3. It's him,
totally.
It's D-Mac, it's Moonga, and those are the guys. And so he's a right footer, right? So he hooked it a little bit. So he's got that little fade if he wants it. He got them in that position. He scored the try before. But I did notice that Levi Aumua, who's leaving, going to the Crusaders, he threw a bit of a loose offload.
Yeah.
And that put the Ndrua ahead by quite a bit. And I was like, oh, no. It's hard telling your teammates, hey, I'm leaving. And here's an offload that's going to lead to a 50-metre runaway try.
It was like, notable a couple of times, some defensive lapses from Levi. He did score a pretty solid try as well, it has to be said. So can't lay it all on his feet. It was Ben Ross, by the way, so another ex-NRL player who... So it wasn't like
for the arm wrestling.
It wasn't like Wendell Saylor broke your arm.
Not like a child's arm. It was a massive...
At the footy show. It was a legitimate ex-NRL player, and he snapped his arm on live television.
It's so disgusting.
And the
noise haunts me.
Go give it a Google, because the noise of his arm snapping on live, it's on the microphone. The microphone picks up the bone snapping.
If you want to vomit... Have a listen to that. It's disgusting.
But that's my controversial opinion about the Moana Pacifica game.
It was an incredible game.
I know what you mean, but I think he's playing for Moana Pacifica as well. He's thinking about the bigger picture now. He's not just thinking about himself and his own rugby journey. He's sort of closed that chapter, right? He's playing for the betterment of Pacific Island rugby, and what better way to better Pacific Island rugby than to get the Ndrua in the quarters. I think it's pretty bloody good.
I'd love to see the Drew in there. I love him.
Yeah, when I was going to talk about... Oh, that's right. Wendell Saylor with the arm wrestle. I remember meeting Andrew Johns. We had, at the NRL Nines, we had a halftime game of touch, and Wendell Saylor was on my team, actually.
Incredible.
Great guy. But anyway, Andrew Johns couldn't catch the ball, couldn't pass the ball. This is the greatest player, greatest halfback in the league, and immortal. And I said, what's going on? And his right hand was like a claw, because the last tackle or last contact he had in league was with Sonny Bill. Sonny Bill smashed him and pretty much ruined the nerves down his arm, down his shoulder, so he couldn't actually operate his hand as normal. So this is the kind of power you're dealing with those guys. You think it's... Oh, how hard can it be? It's ridiculous.
And what a beautiful sport where, you go into the night after you've finished and your life just carries on normally. You're not crippled with pain and...
You don't have to live with that forever.
Having a claw hand.
Yeah.
Truly startling.
He's going to be like an old guy in an old folks' home with his weird little claw arm, and everyone's going to be like, "That's Andrew Johns," and everyone's going to be like,
They'll chuck him a ball,
"They'll be like, no way,"
and he'll drop it cold.
And then he'll be like, take
And they
my
have to
strong
explain,
hand.
Sonny Bill fucked my shoulder.
Yeah, sure, granddad, whatever, mate.
Yeah.
Well,
Who's
yeah,
Sonny Bill?
with your little claw hand, yeah, great.
Speaking of granddads, Crusaders, Waratahs.
Oh,
Out
yeah.
comes John R.
It
Fuller.
was amazing. This is what I reckon. I reckon they went, John R. Fuller's here. Let's get him down.
Segway gods. No, they flew him in because I saw him. I saw him arrive, and he was bleary-eyed, and I thought he was coming to do some coaching or something.
Yeah.
He's like, nah, I'm going to play.
The oldest player in Super Rugby history.
Apparently, he gave his boots away in his last game in France at the end of the game, which was last weekend.
Yeah.
It wasn't like this was months ago.
Yeah.
Gave his boots to someone in the crowd, came over here. He's got giant feet. He's like got a size 13 and a half. Went to Rebel Sport, and they just don't stock them. And he's like, So he had to get on the blower to Dan Carter and was like, Dan, you're the Adidas god. Can you hook me up? Dan was like, I'll sort it, mate. Rang his connections at Adidas, and they were able to track down a pair of boots big enough for him
tracked down
to
a giant
play in.
and left him with
Got
the
a
thing.
13 and a half down there to Christchurch for the 39-year-old beast.
I feel like
Wait.
13 and a half isn't that big.
Yeah, surely some of the locks are going to actually give Johnny a hookup here. What about Dog Roll? She's going to be a 13 and a half.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I thought as well, but maybe they're just running a very particular boot.
What
Yes.
size shoe you do?
I'm a 12.
Well, see, you're
I'm a 12.
But that's a size and a half bigger. That's a decent amount of...
it's not that.
You can't push your foot into a 12 if you're a size. I was also shocked. Maybe that speaks to Rebel Sports.
What a great
Michael
character.
Jordan had like 22 size 22s or something like that.
Really?
Michael
so.
Jordan.
Yeah, it was something like that.
No, that's Ronald
Mental.
McDonald, I
Yeah,
think.
you're thinking of
I'm
Ronald
mixing up with
McDonald.
Ronald McDonald. I do that. You're
It's a
absolutely
classic
right.
mistake.
Yeah.
But yeah, he played amazingly, John Arthur.
He must have been so knackered.
Yeah.
I was saying during the commentary that, you know, if you ever gone like played a game of touch or something with some friends after not doing any sort of rugby for a while, how devastated you are. Like the next day, your hamstrings
Yeah.
are shot. You can barely move.
If you've ever played squash after not playing for like a year,
Yeah.
then your groin is destroyed for like a week.
But that's more the aftermatch. But yeah,
That's
it does
true.
really take it out of you. And I'm not saying that he wasn't playing a high level in France, but to come over and just waltz back into Super and play the best part of 53 minutes,
Yeah.
it's good stuff.
Wait, did he waltz in? Did he?
Yeah, he was.
Well, see, because of Razor with the break
Yeah.
dancing, it makes sense. It's
Yeah.
like if you're going to come back in, you better be dancing. And he said, "I'm going to waltz."
Okay.
He was actually announced as the next contestant on Dancing with the
Yeah.
Stars.
He'd be amazing.
He would be pretty
With
amazing.
John R4 and Scott Robinson, please take the dance floor. And then they come on, and one's waltzing and the other one's breakdancing.
Breakdancing.
It's like such an amazing heady combo.
Yeah.
Like,
Dancing with the Stars, where both people are stars and there's no professional dancer in it.
Yeah.
That would be a train wreck. It'd
Well, that's
be
what it
amazing.
should be,
we
really.
should watch that.
It's not called Dancing with the Stars and Professional Dancers. It's
Yeah.
called I guess there could be the dance.
That's Dancing with the Stars.
But-
Starring with the Stars.
where they're doing different things, like John R4 doing the Paso Doble, Razor doing the tutting. He's tutting right now.
The electric
bop.
boogaloo.
Yeah. Also, John R4, I love the Sky coverage. I felt sorry for him because they must have known he was going to get subbed. They were showing him breathing so heavily in
Yeah.
around that sort of 15-minute mark where all props pretty much get hooked because you know their GPS is pretty much. They think, oh, has the GPS died? Oh, no, the prop has just run out of gas.
He stopped moving.
He stopped moving. So they, and then they interviewed him on the sideline. It was a beautiful thing because the interview was so important because he just broken the record. They kept him in the corner with the play going on the other side. And fortunately, there was a cross kick. And if it had landed to hand, I think that would have been the end of the John R4 interview. It's like, cheers, John, broke the record. You know, we're going to commentate now. But the kick went out, and we got another minute and a half of John R4, and I thought that was bloody nice
He
coverage.
seems like a lovely guy as well, eh?
I don't think. I mean, for guys who've been playing rugby for the best part of 3 decades, I don't know if he knows how head tape works. Supposed to go include the ears and the strapping. He's run just the across the top headband.
He's using it as a fashion accessory.
It is a bit of a fashion
He's gone a
accessory.
bit jazzercised with the headband, hasn't he? Really?
Yeah.
He's kind of.
Yes,
It's like he's taking the what do you call it? The boot camp class, you know, and like come and join me down the park. I'll be doing the boot camp. But then he's sort of instead of doing that, he's run onto a Super
He's
Rugby.
run onto
Yeah,
the worst rugby stadium in New Zealand.
How dare you?
And a comprehensive victory, Sam. You must have been jazzed, 42 to 18. It was a bit of a kind of lost all interest by the end of it, but they did win well.
It was brilliant. It was a brilliant game, and I put us in good stead for the finals coming up. It means that I think the Blues are the only team that can catch up with us if they get a 5-point win this weekend.
Yeah, they'll be doing pretty bloody well.
But they're up against the Highlanders, so it'll be interesting.
Also, did want to say with Levi Almore joining your super team or whatever it is, it's just one of those things where if you're going from a team that hasn't won a game a season, going to a team that's won 6 in a row, it must be. And apparently Levi was all for the move as well. He wasn't poached or grabbed by your guys. He was like, hey, actually, I wouldn't mind winning. Yeah. And so it is a bit like that where you sort of go and, you know, to quote, who's the snowman from Frozen? Is it Olaf? Olaf, yeah. Do you want to win a title? And you just go to you know, do you want to coach that backspins? You just go to the bloody Crusaders, don't you? And it all happens for you.
Yeah, it certainly does.
It's a lovely thing.
It's a great thing. It's what every rugby player aspires to do. Get poached by the Crusaders.
Because you know that you're going to be in a photo that's immortalised for the rest of your life. You'll have the photo, right? Because everybody wants the photo. It's like when they go to the Eiffel Tower or the Leaning Tower Pisa, you get the pushing photo. It's like you go to the Crusaders, you better bloody get that title photo.
Yeah.
Because that's what you want. That's going to stay in the bloody lounge forever.
Yeah.
And he'll be in his tracksuit when they do win that title because the midfield is fucking stacked and that team is a horrible indictment of the state of New Zealand rugby. But what wasn't is...
Whoa. Hey. No, I just... at one point I was thinking, he's playing reasonably nice, and then all of a sudden...
I thought I was being quite nice today.
And by that I mean about...
You're a piece of shit, Tony Lyall. That's what you are.
Not about how the players play.
As soon as we push the off button on this, I'm going to punch you in the face.
And I would...
Arm wrestle.
If Wendell Saylor can take you, so can I. All I'm saying is about how New Zealand rugby maintains its player stock, not about how the players are playing.
Have we got time just a quick mention of Leicester Fainga'anuku, who's pretty much the best. I think he's been the best player in Super Rugby this year, followed by about 5 Chiefs. Yeah. You know, it's Leicester, then all the Chiefs, and then other players. But he's amazing. Leaving at 23, this is the canary in the mine going, look out, you could lose a lot of players at that age because, the black jersey is amazing, the legacy, the heritage, the blah, 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 prestige. But if you lose him at 23, who's to say who's next? That's, you know.
I think it's one of the ones of the people who are kind of fringe All Blacks and find it hard to get into that really top tier group where you are in the side the whole time with a starting jersey. If you're floating around that periphery and thinking, well, it's not secure that I'm even going to make the team.
Yeah.
I mean, he's played himself into, has to be the starting squad for this year. But, you know, that wasn't probably assured when he signed this contract at the start of this. There's probably a few of those guys who are on the fringe who are like, you know what, bugger it. I'm just going to go get this cash because I don't know if I quite feel the loyalty that I need to feel.
The Fainga'anukus are a big, like, family. So they really look after each other. And I think that's exactly what he's doing. He's going to go just get that cash.
God bless him.
Get that Toulon money.
And look after his wonderful family. Good on him.
Before Toulon, I played for the Crusaders. Anyway, we won't. Was that Paul Kelly?
We don't know. We're much younger than you.
Hunters and Collectors? Oh, you are much younger. Yes, bloody hell.
We'd only know it if it was a Blink-182 song.
If only music stayed in the atmosphere. There's only an app that you could just call up any song, you know?
All right, you with your apps? You're already on your phone all the time?
Anyway, he is... I remember when Rennie Ranger was the best player in Super Rugby. He couldn't cement an All Black spot either, and he went at age 27. I think this is bigger because of just what he could do at that level. But you're right, he hasn't cemented the spot.
Yeah.
He probably doesn't get courted or have the same clout in those negotiation meetings.
Yeah.
And so... you take that Toulon money.
Yeah, and then of course, you got a guy like Bodie Barrett, who a lot of people would say, where do you even put him at the moment in the squad? And he'd be feeling as safe as a house in terms of staying around. Obviously, he is leaving, but you know what I mean. If he was 23, it's a hell of a pickle. Blues vs Hurricanes, the other game that was here in Auckland on Saturday night, and the Blues playing some wet weather rugby against the Canes. People were slipping, people were sliding. There was a crocodile mile out there. Mark Telea getting 4 tries.
Holy moly.
What a guy. And what a game.
I'm so excited to see him most definitely start for the All Blacks. He is incredible.
Yeah, you have to think he's sewed up one of those wing spots.
Incredible.
Watching Telea, he is the slipperiest man on a slippery night.
Yeah.
I feel like if there's any hint of rain in France, it's the Telea game.
Yeah.
I reckon we should lube him up before the show.
I think he does get lubed.
Yeah, completely lube him head to toe. Not his hands. He's got to catch the ball still.
Yeah, so he's got to need catchable parts there.
He can
Maybe
wear those
the
gloves.
jersey
Yeah,
can't be too looby, but the back could be.
Back lube.
Lube him
I
right
reckon
up.
lube up the front as well.
No,
Yeah.
you need to clutch the ball to your chest.
But he
don't
can,
you?
if we give him the gloves that Byron Callagher wore in the,
Yeah.
the thing, he can
Yes.
grab that.
Some
so
Mark
he's got the
Ramby
ball.
gloves.
The Tane Randall,
Yeah.
Mark Ramby,
Yeah.
Byron Callagher gloves.
And then he can just lube everyone else up. It'll be hot.
So
Yeah.
he's so I think he uses Nivea something. I can't remember. I interviewed him about his slipperiness. But yeah, he's got to be. It just feels like you need someone who can do something just out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And he's not a conventional beautiful stepper. He's just very hard to put down. Stronger than you think, faster than you think. He's all those all those things where you just go, actually, we need Mark Telea because there's got to be some freaky X factor. And I think picking the back line now for the All Blacks is a Tetris game for Fozzie, or like packing the station wagon. It's like you don't know, he doesn't know if he's putting the tent in first or the suitcase or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's what their back line is.
Yeah.
He's Tetrising it.
He reminds me of sort of Ben Smith quality about him. If you're like, you don't quite know how he beats that first tackler, but he
Yes.
always does. The second one as well, quickly easy to whip past him.
It's the thing of Conrad Smith as well, where like when he runs, he doesn't look as fast as he is.
Yeah.
like it's
It's such
an
a
incredible
gap.
move.
But he's just at full pace
He's
the
at-
whole time. So
And
people are like,
it looks like
"Oh,
he's
I'm
going for a
surprised."
casual stroll, but he's actually at like 9,000 kilometers an hour. It's
And that
incredible.
slide for the final try of the game was.
Imagine Telea, Jordan, and D-Mac in a team, all slippery characters. I reckon we need to get KY on board to sponsor the All Blacks, lube everyone up. Let's lube up the fans as well. We'll all have a slippery time. It'll be great.
I agree with that. I think KY would be a great sponsor because it doesn't clash really with other sponsors. Like Wheatbix aren't going to, I'm not sure how the Seventh-day Adventists, but I'd say they use lube.
Yeah, I'd
I mean,
say
they would. They would use
right.
No,
lube.
it's
Yeah.
dry humping. You don't.
No, but no, in a loving marriage, they'd probably get a bit of KY, wouldn't they?
Yeah,
I'm sure they would.
He's talking about like Wheatbix. That is dry humping. That is
Yeah.
the dry.
Oh, that's really, but up and go though.
Up and go.
You
That's-
can.
oh.
you
Well,
can-
what is Alltrad? Is that some sort of oil? Is that like an oil manufacturer on the front of the?
Yes,
jersey? So maybe
yeah.
we could lube everyone up with oil, sponsored by Alltrad.
Full oil. Yeah, that's
some
nice.
good old fashioned petroleum. Get that all over everyone. Some crude. Spray that over the crowd.
But then you're not getting another sponsor. I reckon they need KY.
Yeah.
Because
They
I
get
remember
more dollars.
playing for varsity here, and our sponsor was Lifestyles Condoms, and it was printed right on the dirt.
And you had to wear a condom throughout the game.
Yeah, so-
That's
yeah.
nice. You always got to be safe.
Very, very safe.
Very, very safe.
Yeah, it's a lot to think of to slap on a condom and then play a game of rugby.
Lifestyles Condoms, people.
you can
Don't
certainly
know if
hit
they
a ru-
still make them, but if they've gone past their expiry date, give it a go. Maybe not.
And the last game of that round was the Chiefs beating the Brumbies later on a Saturday night. A hooer of a day if you were watching every single one of those games. And the Chiefs making it look easy. A few question marks, people saying, oh, will the Brumbies show up here? What's going to go on? And basically the Chiefs just comprehensively defeated them.
Yeah.
I'm a Chiefs fan. It was one of those games where I could tell the Brumbies, they stifle everything. They make everything awkward. The low camera angle in Canberra sucks. It's a terrible game to watch. There's rolling mauls all day. But the Chiefs had a really good plan against the rolling maul, and I think every team needs to have that.
Yeah.
I noticed that the hookers aren't necessarily scoring tries in their droves. The top of the leaderboard are people like Mark Telea now. It's not like
4
Cody
tries in a
Taylor
game will
versus
do that.
Kurt Eklund versus Summer Sawney. It's like there's wingers at the top of the try scoring. But it was just that second half performance from the Chiefs I loved. Obviously, Luke Jacobson was great in the first half. That gave us the platform. But, you know, when the Chiefs get going, they are a great team to watch. And I don't know, you guys have been fans of teams that have always scored length of the field tries or long range tries. And of course, shout out to the Reds for their one of the weekend.
Almost try the season.
Unbelievable. But now the Chiefs can do that quite regularly, and that makes them the huge danger, and Narawa.
Yeah, Narawa, what a guy.
Yeah.
Do you reckon he'll feature in this end of year team?
Yes.
Yeah, I
he has
think
to,
he will.
right?
So I think
He's
it's
got to.
Narawa, Telea, and then I think they have to have Leicester. But even if he's leaving, I feel like you have to pick him because you want to win the World Cup.
Yeah.
Are they going to do? They'll do Clark though, won't they?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think he's?
If we want to
they've
leak,
been working on him for so long.
if you want to leak tries out wide on defense, then
That's true.
Clark's your man at the moment. Amazing on attack.
I'd love to see Leicester there. Don't get me wrong.
Seems too
favorite.
hurtful to say that out loud, but
Yeah.
a lot of defensive misreads, unfortunately.
Do you want to win a World Cup?
He is. He's only like 24 as well.
What a caboose on the man.
What a caboose!
Oh, that's a great ass. And I mean, there've been some great asses in Super Rugby. Ben Tamafuna. There's Norm Berryman, RIP, one of the great bums.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're just proper. Norm was that size playing for the New Zealand touch team.
Incredible.
Yeah, he's just got that
Knows how
power
to move.
booty. He's got a power booty. And Caleb's got that power booty. But the one thing is that he still mows over the top of people, right? He
does.
still bumps.
Yeah.
He still bumps. But I think at that top level, it's got to be the clinical finish, making every tackle,
Defence wins.
Yeah.
Quite often his issue as well is he will bump and he'll bunt off the first person and then he sort of finds himself in a crazy hectic no man's land where he'll sprint off by himself and instead of looking for that final pass to put someone else away and finish it, he'll just charge at the next guy and get a little bit isolated. So I think he'll be back.
It's good analysis there from Tony Lyall. I feel like he's come back as well.
Tony Lyall's back.
Yeah, Tony Lyall's
He's
back.
actually thinking about it now.
Yeah, he is. He started that's the thing. He after he was thinking about Caleb Clark. The initial bump, the initial abuse of Sam, and then I went off piece, and I wasn't
He went away.
making the offload. But now he's back.
Then once I threatened to punch him in the face, he's really come back.
Yeah, he has.
That certainly was a thing.
Can I just say as well, I'm not going to punch you in the face. I never will.
I knew you
I
wouldn't.
love you too much, buddy.
All right, it's time to talk the top
Not
up.
returned. Didn't say love you back. That's fine. Continue.
I was trying to do some punishing admin because it is the top up. Leading New Zealand want to top up. You're flat this winter with your top up. You could win a topper warmer, a whole warmer, and a chest full of lasagna toppers for your flat.
Oh my
it's
gosh.
an epic prize.
That's
genuinely.
an incredible prize.
Outrageous. Imagine
Can we
having that.
enter this?
Certainly not. To do so, you've got to text topper in your region to 3236 to enter. There are 3 top ups to be won, and every text goes in the draw to win a $20 topper voucher. Imagine having that at your flat. So they're both texting topper right now to topper. So we'll take a quick break, let them finish texting, and come back with next week's games.
Well, we are back, and without our good friend Mr. Tony Lyall, who has just had to sprint out of the studio because he forgot that he had a dentist appointment.
I thought you were his dentist.
I'm insulted that he didn't ask me to do his surgical implant.
I mean, you're looking after me and Adam, aren't
Yep,
you?
I sought you guys out
thanks.
for free. Cashies.
Cashy.
Cashy's dentist. I just want to say, like all jokes aside, dentistry is a very serious thing. If you were doing cash, if you were paying cash for your dentist, you were not doing it right.
Which is the best country to go to for dentistry? Because everyone flies overseas, don't they?
Yeah.
To Indonesia or Bali, and then Thailand's quite popular for
That's right.
dentistry. And
That's right.
Yep.
The best place to go to the dentist is close to where you live, because if you need any touch-ups, if you need anything not working properly, you want to get whoever is near you to sort it out.
Right.
That's not the answer for if you want to save money. If you want to save money, go overseas.
Yeah,
Get it done.
okay, yep, thanks.
And then when you come back, then they can fix up anything that was wrong at a much costlier expense.
Okay.
Yeah, very good.
All right, fair enough.
So Tony's gone. He's out of here. We don't need him. The show will be better for it. Mm-hmm. And but we will miss him. And
He made a good comeback, though. I feel like Tony was just, we have to give him his credit.
We do need to give him his credit.
Yeah.
Full credit to the boy. But we've got a wonderful weekend of rugby coming up. We've got this is the round. This is the final round. This is where we are going to find out who takes out those final few spots, who locks in the quarterfinal home games, who hopefully for my team, the Crusaders, retains the at the moment semi-final home game. Hope we can keep that going.
So the most exciting game is the one first up, I feel.
Yeah, Blues Highlanders. This is it. This is the one. If the Landers manage to stay in the running, that's going to be huge for them. The Blues also have the opportunity, if they win by 5 points, to take second spot, I think.
Okay, great.
If the Crusaders lose. The Crusaders, of course, are playing the Hurricanes in Wellington. Hoo, boy.
Ooh.
A game that is...
It's a tricky one.
It is a tricky one.
It's a spicy one.
It is a spicy one.
So, well, they're going to have to probably go full noise because the problem for the Chiefs is I think that the best quarterfinal would be Highlanders visiting the Chiefs, but we've already talked about the banana skins coming up. That's really tough. So Brumbies against the Rebels later on that night, and then on the Saturday games we've got the Ndrua against the Reds over in Fiji. Is the tree going to get shaken?
I hope so.
Suva. I'm not sure. Maybe Lautoka was the one where the tree just got absolutely
It was
rattled.
Great. It was great. Imagine the Fijian Drua, they take out 8th, so they have to play the Chiefs. They upset the Chiefs.
Yeah.
What a magical world that would be.
No.
I forget you support the Chiefs.
Yeah,
what a terrible world that would be.
And they were actually, they came and played in Kirikiriroa for the, about 4 or 5 rounds ago. It was pissing down and they were good in Drua. So I don't think they care about New Zealand conditions. They're an all-weather team. It's all fine.
Smash it. It'll be incredible. And of course, this round we didn't have quite so much luck with our TAV good punt last week. We had many aspects to that, and every leg of our bet fell through, which was amazing. And the complete opposite of how we've done it in the past. Adam, you've been all over it.
Yeah, well, you can't win them all. I feel like that's the best thing to start with here, is that you can't win them all, and we have. Out of the past month, we'd won over $1,000.
It's pretty good.
That went into the kitty for the listeners. So I would say that we were definitely due a loss, but that means that we're going to finish the year strong.
With a win this weekend.
Yeah, well, I've definitely gone rogue. So I'll read out what our multi is.
What have you got?
Fantastic.
At the moment. So,
strap in, everyone.
Yeah, so we've got a 4-leg multi. I'm going Blues to score the first try against the Landers.
Yep.
I'm going Brumbies to score the first try versus the Rebels.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'm going Crusaders to beat the Hurricanes.
Yes.
Because I feel like either way, that's a bit too hard to pick a try scorer there, right?
Yep.
And then I'm going the Waratahs to score the first try against Moana Pacifica. And that was paying, it's just over $5. So with the bonus bet, we were going to get back about $460. So
from all 4 of those.
Yeah, from all 4 of those. So I don't think any of them are too ridiculous, but we are just trying to fill up the kitty for the listeners.
Yeah.
Because a few weeks ago, we got to give out $3,000. So 30 individual people got $100 each. It's the most comments I've ever seen on a post. Yeah. It was over 3,500 people commenting to try and get a slice.
Amazing.
So we're just trying to fill up that kitty for the listeners, and hopefully we can snag a little one here before we get into the finals season, eh?
That's so good. I mean, I think that's the $3,000 watching it climb. Can I say that Mike Lane is the jammiest man alive? Because he was making some bets where you just go, oh, okay. So he was throwing a dart at the dartboard and just going, that. But shit, he's a bloody Rain Man savant when it comes to picking Super Rugby results. Because he was just going, I remember it was a points differential of a big win. Yeah. And I can't remember who was playing that one, Adam, but it was...
Oh, he's had a couple of decent ones. And do you think
it was the Chiefs, wasn't it?
It was the Chiefs,
It was the Chiefs against the Hurricanes.
Yeah.
And the end of the last 5 minutes of the game was like, don't score. Yes, you score. No, don't kick this. And it was like, he won $1,500.
Yeah, he just snuck in the final moments, which is amazing.
Mate, I had that. The closest I've ever had that is in the World Cup in 2015. I did fantasy rugby, and I came 8th in the world.
Wow!
Because in that last couple of rounds, I just had a couple of great picks that sort of lift me from doing pretty decent to right up there. One, absolutely nothing, because you get. I think the first person wins a car, and then everyone else gets literally nothing.
Well, it's pride, mana.
Yeah.
But look, listen to me. I'm complaining about it right now.
Car to nothing is a bit shit.
Yeah.
I think.
You'd think a jersey,
a voucher,
top 10. There should be like
$5 off
10.
a coffee somewhere.
Anyway, what happened? Who were your picks that you had in the end of the 2015?
I can't remember.
Carter.
At the time, I was on steroids because I had an MS flare up, And so I was awake all the time. So I thought about it a lot, and I sort of did on my computer. I did like a full Minority Report thing where I added up all the things. I had columns adding up.
The red string that serial killers use.
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
I had that. I had pictures of everyone's faces and who would work well with who. You got to get the captains on. You got to get lots of kickers in because they got lots of points. They've changed those rules recently. But anyway, I'm so excited about World Cup for doing this again. Can't wait. I'm even hoping that I have another MS attack so I can get on some more steroids. It was World MS Day this week on Tuesday, so be aware of MS. It's a thing. I think you can text text MS to 2449 to donate $3 to MS Auckland, a wonderful cause.
Awesome.
And I wonder if there are any rugby players with MS. Surely.
Yeah.
I'll find some out.
Find out.
Very good.
I was trying to think of a rugby player who I interviewed who had another condition that was pretty amazing, that he was playing in the front row, hooker. But anyway, we should follow Sam, I think, in his Rugby World Cup fantasy. That's going to be our main focus for most of the Rugby World Cup, I think, is your picks. We will shame you if you don't live up to your top 10 billing, though.
I'm happy to do that. Okay. And I think in the 2019 one, I came about 20,000. So let's do this. It's my bad run, and I'll get a good one again.
There's only up from there, Sam Smith.
Exactly.
There's only up from there.
Literally.
Sorry. So I like your bet. I'm sure the TAB will go, oh yeah, not bad. But the one thing I was going to say, in the English Premier League fantasy this week, the Crowd Goes Wild League, I came second. It wasn't an agonising second because I was 30 points adrift to the winner, but still pretty close after.
That's still second. But what annoyed me is I thought, they're going to rest Haaland. I should just sub him for Harry Kane, even though it's going to cost me 4 points. I think Harry Kane will probably, you choose the next best striker, right? Mm. And I didn't do it. And if I picked Harry Kane and made him my captain, I would have won the league. So me at 1 a.m. or whenever I was doing, because you're always updating your fantasy about that time, aren't you? And we're doing some kind of fantasy. And anyway, you end up going, fucking Harry Kane, of course it was. Stupid. So it's partly I'm going to say, trust your instincts, but you've got the research anyway, so you don't need it. Yeah, you don't need to go on a hunch all the time. Thanks, McOnie. That's really nice. All right. Well, hey, this has been a wonderful podcast. Thanks so much for listening to the Champagne Rugby Podcast. Go the bloody Crusaders this weekend. Good luck to everyone doing their things. And let's get this bloody TAB good punt going so that you guys get some money. Thank you, McOnie. We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Cheers.